Warning, you are about to enter the BGP suite. No thongs, no boy shorts, no thigh highs, no commandos are permissible. BGP, big girl panties only. So pull up to woman up. And no, please don't leave with your panties in a bunch.
Welcome back to BGP, aka Big Girl Panties, and today we have some special guests joining us. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks.
Good afternoon.
Welcome. Good afternoon.
We're going to start with everyone introducing themselves. Frank Rivers, can you introduce yourself to our audience, please?
Sure. Like my sister Mona said, I'm Frank. Frank Rivers. I have a podcast, a channel on YouTube as well called Views from the Man Cave, where I talk about everything related to masculinity and manhood. So good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be on your platform.
Pleasure to have you here. Intellectual Sniper, how are you today?
I'm very well. Thank you very much. Want to say thank you for inviting me to your platform. I appreciate it. I am a best-selling author. I've authored 3 books. Now working on my 4th book now called The Power of Self. Also a content creator as well.
And in-house, we have Mr. Trevor Woodruff. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. My name is Trevor Woodruff. I am a real estate investor, and I also have a YouTube channel. It's Trevor M. Woodruff. I talk about financial literacy, and I vlog also.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I was on Facebook a couple of weeks ago, and I ran across Frank Rivers' post. It was a tweet. I read the tweet. I thought about it. I said, that's very nice. At the time, there were no comments and there were no thumbs ups or thumbs down. A few hours later, another gentleman had put the tweet on his page as well. And on his page, all hell broke loose. So I quickly went back to Frank's page, and all hell was breaking loose over there, right? So, sometimes they make memes and tweets to just get on people's nerves or to start some controversy. So I wanted to see if it was really a tweet. So I went to Twitter and I found the tweet by, shout out to Dr. Chauke. It was an actual tweet. At the time, that tweet had 57,000 views and hundreds of comments. And all hell was breaking loose over there. So I decided to put it on my page. And all hell broke loose. They was choosing violence. They were saying mess around and find out. This has got to be a joke. The men had their underwear in a bunch. Some of the females had their panties in a bunch. The men that were agreeing with this meme were getting some backlash. And it was all bad. So I said this would be a great topic for us to discuss and that we needed some men for balance. So, who wants to read that meme? We posted the meme. Did we post the meme? No. So I'm going to read the meme. And then we're going to get started. I'm coming straight to you, Mr. Rivers, because you started this mess.
I have it. You want me to read it?
Yeah.
All right. Here's the meme. If I marry a woman with a child, we become a family, meaning every child under my roof is mine. The father of the child must respect me as a father to his child. Basically, if he wants to see his child, I should be notified so I can know where my child is going. Dr. Chauke. That's the meme.
Mr. Frank Rivers, you are a married man. I want to know what made you post this particular meme or tweet.
Um, um, you're right. I am married happily. It'll be 17 years this August 10th.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Thank y'all so much. So yeah, so I posted the meme because um, I embrace debate. So I like to get us in a space and talk, respectfully, of course. So when I saw it, I said that, it's very important for us to be able to, for Black people especially, to be able to have conversations like this because let's be honest, the majority of us, we grew up in single parent households. There are a lot of us who were born, out of wedlock and whatnot. So if we're going to marry each other at the rate that we're marrying each other now, then more so than not, you're going to be in a situation where the families are going to be blended. You may have a situation where you come into it where you have a child or the woman that you're interested in has a child. So if we're going to do that, we need to figure out how to go about it. And so when I read it, it kind of I won't say it triggered me a little bit, but I think the brother was being very direct. And I could understand how, it would make some people comment and respond the way that they did. But, long story short, I just wanted us to talk about it, put it all on the table and see how we can get through, how we can deal with being in relationships where the person that we're dealing with has a child.
So, Adrian, when I posted it on my page, you were the first person that made a comment. And you said,
I know. It was a little puzzling because right away I felt like that might be necessary if you are dealing with a person that is very disrespectful and you have to put some very firm boundaries in place. But if you are dealing with a father who wants to be very active in their child's life, that's almost like too much restriction for the dad to me. And I read it about 3 or 4 times. I kept saying, am I missing something in this? Because it seemed a little bit harsh. I know if there's certain baby daddies that I know of, I don't want to mention their names, but that probably I would need to put that kind of boundary in place because all over the place, want to do what he want to do, show up when he want to show up and things of that nature. But I think that's a lot to ask the father to kind of go on those kind of rules. But yeah, they have to respect the home. They have to respect the rules of the home and respect the leader of the house, but not, it just seemed a little harsh to me.
Trevor. You
All right.
made a comment on my page and you said he was correct. And then you start
Yes.
getting a little backlash. Why do you say it's correct?
Well, all right. So for one, if a man chooses to marry a woman and he's the head of the household, he should know where those kids are at all times. Because if he's asked, if he's asked by the wife, hey, where's the kids at? I don't know. Is that a suitable answer? No, it's not. He should know. He's the leader of that household. He's the head of the household. It doesn't matter if the biological father is taking the kids or not.
Nisha Williams, your thoughts?
I think this is funny. So when I read it, I shared it with a few of my guy friends in private, and they was going off like, "Who the fuck is that? Who did it?" And I'm like, "Wait, why are you upset? Wait, it's a tweet. It is a tweet. This is what this guy said. I disagree. He out of pocket and this and this." And I was like, "Well, explain to me why is he out of pocket?" And he was like, "Cause that's my child. I'm in the mic. That's my child, so I don't have to." My thoughts was, I get what the husband is saying. Like, this is my house, my rules. Those that live under my house, my rules. I get it. But at the same time, I'm like, it low key seems like he's eliminating the father out the picture. So I'm like in that middle right there where I'm like, I don't know how I would be able to rock with that. I don't know yet. So that's what I thought.
Intellectual sniper, what are your thoughts?
Very interesting tweet. I had to read it a couple times to make sure I understood it correctly. especially the middle part when he said of the something twice. But no judgment, no judgment. So I respectfully disagree with the doctor, because no matter how, aggressive he's being, he's not the father. He's not the biological father of that child. So you have to respect that there was a man in that child's life before you. You can't just come in and say, okay, well, I'm the king of this now, and I'm taking over everything. If you want a, I would say, I guess, a good relationship with the child, it's probably best to try to establish some type of, boundary or conversation with the biological father. So I'm going to disagree with the with the doctor who wrote the tweet. I feel like we're all adults. If we all have the best interest of the child, then let's speak about the child. Let's not just come in and say, well, it's my house, it's my rules, I'm going to do whatever I want. And because there's going to be times where the child's with the biological father. And of course, they're going to be doing things, going places. If you happen to not know each stop of where they go, you're going to be mad. You're going to be upset. You're going to feel some type of way. As long as you know that child's safe in good hands, then that's what should matter, number one, overall.
Okay, I'm going to take the emotions out of it. I know that once you start speaking about people's children, men get very protective. However, I think it was a commendable gesture right off the rip, especially in the climate where it's so nasty when men say you're not supposed to wife a single mother. And I think that his mindset right off the rip was a beautiful thing, because most of the time stepfathers get a bad rap. They tell men not to be stepfathers, but I know some stepfathers that are incredible men. Mm-hmm. I know some stepfathers whose non-biological children love them to death. But then you have this flip side where they say, they made my damn kids, or the kids grow up and say, my stepdaddy didn't like me. My mother had other children with him, and he favored his biological kids more than he favored me. So I think it was commendable. I think that a lot of the men got their boxes in a bunch because they didn't take the emotions out of it. They say that men are supposed to be the logical ones. And I think that was a very blunt and logical tweet.
Mm-hmm. My only thing is, I think there are times you have the bio dad who is very irresponsible. Maybe he goes for his visitation is for Monday, Saturday and Sunday, and he don't bring the child back until Monday or Tuesday. I think those are times when stepdad may need to step up and make some strict rules, and in some cases that may be necessary, because I have seen that happen where stepdad has to step up and let the real father know, look, man, you can't just be bringing him. He got school. He got, So I commend those stepfathers that can, speak on behalf and look at the well-being of that child and make those kind of rules. So there's some good points of what the doctor was saying, but I think in some cases when you got a decent dad who wants to just have his regular visitations and go wherever he wants to go with his child and do whatever he wants to do, he should have that ability to do that.
So I'll put it like I'll say this, right? It's not a rule or anything. I don't see it as a rule. It's a respect thing. That's what it is. It's respecting the stepfather, because like she said, majority of the time stepfathers they get no respect, and I'm talking about no respect from the wife, no respect from the kids, no respect from the baby daddy. So it's a respect thing. If for one, majority of men do not want to be stepfathers. They settle to be stepfathers. Majority of men. I want to make that clear, majority. So when a man becomes a stepfather, he's saying, hey, I'll take care of this child. That's not his. Right? So out of respect, the least you can do is let him know. Would you let your child go anywhere without knowing where they're going?
No.
Okay, so it doesn't matter if it's the biological father or not, that child needs to be accounted for. You know what I'm saying? So Well, so let's put it like this, right? At the end of the day, if you look at the tweet, the most important part is the end of the tweet, which says that I need to know where
Where my
that
child
child
is.
is. Every
Absolutely.
parent feels that way.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter where they're going. They don't have to. Let's say, for example, oh, we're going to, let's say, Six Flags. If you stop at the gas station, if you stop at Target before that, it doesn't matter as long as you get to the destination of Six Flags. You don't have to tell them every single, we're going to Target, we're going to go to McDonald's and this, and that. Just the end destination. He just wants to know where are you going and then are you coming back? What time are you coming back? Simple and easy.
I think what really got a lot of men upset or triggered by it was the fact that it came off to a lot of men like it was a manhood measuring contest, and that it didn't have as much to do with the kids as he, tried to let on. And so, and I understand it from both sides. I always look at things, in the middle. The truth is always somewhere in the middle. So, and I think people responded to the tweet or the post the way that they see themselves in a situation like that. So some men read it and automatically saw themselves as the baby daddy. And so their response was aligned with that. Like, look, this is my child. I was the first man that ever held this child. I've been there from the beginning. Just because me and the mom didn't work out, just because I might have been a horrible boyfriend or a horrible husband doesn't mean I was ever a horrible father. So you don't get to come up in there and tell me how to be a father. You know what I mean? So some men saw it like that off the rip. And then other men read it and saw themselves naturally as the new boo, the new zaddy or whatever. So they're like, look, this is my house. This is where I pay the rent or the mortgage. Everything in this household is under my covering. And I need to know where everybody's at. You know what I mean? And so it really, and then I think a lot of women saw it too and saw themselves in different positions too. If a woman read that tweet and saw herself as, the mother of the child, then she's like, look, okay, this is my new guy. I'm with him. We live together. This is our household. So he's right. But if she saw herself as the girlfriend to the baby daddy, then she's like, oh, okay, this guy's flexing. He's trying to take my man away from his kids, all this kind of stuff. So it really depends on how you see yourself and how you see yourself in that situation. But it's like the brother said earlier, it's, no other species on earth, takes care of another male seed. You know what I mean? It just don't happen. You look at lions, when a new male come into pride, he automatically kills the kids that are there. He kills the babies to make the females want to, be in heat to have children. So, to have cubs or whatever. So you don't see that anywhere on the planet outside of human beings. So it's not something that's, for the most part, natural. But these brothers don't really get a bad rap. And there's something interesting about them, and I'll end with this because I don't want to ramble, but in traditional marriages, women file for divorce the majority of the time. In marriages where there are stepchildren involved, men initiate marriage twice as much. So, they initiate divorce twice as much. So men initiate divorces 60% of the time when there's a blended family situation, and women only do it 30% of the time. So I thought that was very interesting when I was doing research for the show.
Interesting.
Wow.
I'm going to be the villain. I'm going to piggyback on what Adrian just said. Because I'm a baby mama, and we're going to talk about baby daddies. Most of the time, let's say some of your baby daddies don't even talk to their children on a day-to-day basis. Most of them don't even see their children on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and some of them don't even see their children on a yearly basis. Some of them only show up for Christmas and birthdays. Some of them can't see their children all the time because they're in different demographics. Either they're in different states or different cities. So when I was watching my page and I knew who were baby daddies and who contacted me afterwards who were baby daddies, I got to call Cap. Because I know that you're not interested in that child on a consistent basis. And I want to ask the men right now, when a non-biological man is covering a biological man's children or child, does that make a man feel a sense of losing control?
I would say
Absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely.
I
I
would
think.
I would say
Sorry, go ahead.
yes.
Because here's the thing. I'm not understanding how you think, as a baby daddy who did not do what this outside man is about to do, thinks that you have the authority to tell him how to run his life, how to run his household. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, you would want that respect as well. See, here's the thing that baby daddies try to do. When you have a child by them, they think they own you and the child for the rest of your life. So oftentimes, and I don't know if Frank has heard it before, baby daddies will tell you, I don't want no niggas around my children. So once we set this marriage in place, once we have this outside man being a covering for this other man's children, being the stability for this other man's children, being that consistency in these children's lives, being that basic that those children hear every day, you can't tell that man how to run his house. What this is going to cause, you won't be able to spin a block. You won't be able to spend the night. You won't be you won't be able to spin up in it no more. And you won't be able to randomly call and say, I want to see my baby. I want to see my children at any time of the night. It has to be some respect. What do you guys say?
I agree. Go
oh.
ahead.
I agree. I mean, basically, like we said earlier, it's just the husband is establishing boundaries. So you're not going to get to do your pop-ups no more. You're not going to get to show up when you feel like it. You don't get to play the game of, I'm going to come today, but you don't show up till next week. You don't get to do it anymore because now there's someone else that's stepping up to the plate to say, I got this. This is my house. Your child is now under my house. These are my rules. This is how it's going to go. So you can abide by it, or you don't have to. You could just remove yourself out the equation. It's on how you want to play the game. But I still see how that can be an issue on the other end too, if the father was already involved in the child's life. If they're in their life and they've always had that position and it's not like a part-time daddy kind of a thing, I can see where it can become an issue too, where now all of a sudden it's, I got to check with my husband first before he can go with you, or I got to check with my husband first to see if he can go with you this weekend, or I got to check with my husband first to see if it's all right if he, it's going to be a little different. That's all I can say. I think it'll be a little different. Yeah.
I believe it would absolutely be a little different, and it should absolutely be different. Here's a question I want to ask the gentleman, because this woman, your baby mother, is not yours anymore. She doesn't belong to you. So one of the comments was, I'm not going to tell him anything. I'm going to take it through my baby mama, or I'm going to tell the kids. So the question I have for the gentleman is this. Wouldn't it be the logical thing to do if you were a baby daddy, once you found out that your child's mother is getting married, for you to be able to say, I would like to speak to this man?
Yeah, you're 100%. I believe that you're 100% right, but I would like to add something too. Just because you have a baby with a woman does not mean that she's yours. She's only yours once you get married. That's it. So because you have a baby with her, that does not mean that, hey, I tell her what to do. She does what I tell. She does what I tell her to do. That does not mean that. If you wanted her to be yours, you would get married to her.
Yep.
So.
And I agree with you. Were you that passionate with trying to keep together with your baby mama before this happened?
Yeah. Right.
Because see, what we have to understand is this. Most of the times when you ask a baby daddy, or we're going to say baby daddy, why he did not marry his baby mama, she wasn't cooperative, she wasn't submissive, she had an attitude problem, she was for the streets. So does it look bad? Oh, we didn't even answer the first question. Remember my first question, gentlemen, because I want you guys to answer it. I lose my train of thought. So I'm going to say this. I think it's kind of shocking because society says that single mothers don't get married. So you're banking that your baby mama is always going to be single and you always can come through whenever you feel like it. And now it's a threat to you and you don't know how to handle it. I need you guys to answer that question, gentlemen. Do you think that because this woman is not his, this woman is this man's wife, that the man, the baby daddy, or even the husband, the ex-husband, should be able to go and speak to this man and have a collaboration on how we're going to raise these children?
So I think it's a joint effort, and while, yes, I do believe the baby daddy should have a conversation with the new husband, I'm speaking in context regarding what was written. The aggressive energy of the new husband seems like, hey, I'm coming over, I'm taking over things. So he should definitely be interested in having a conversation with the biological father. It's going to take all three people to raise a productive, healthy child. That's how I look at it. I don't really look at it as a loss. And we also have to separate between, there was a lot of men on your post, as you said you calling cap, right? They were acting all like, no, he can't come over, or he can't just demand stuff, but the real truth of their energy towards their real situation, right? So we have to separate that. Some men look at a woman they had a child with and say, I do own you forever. It's always gonna be mine. You know what it is.
I can hit
right?
that. I can tap that at any time.
Right, exactly. So some men are like that, but then you have others that say, you know what? She's getting married. I accept it. I just want what's best for the child. So run your household however you want to run it. But regarding the child, let's establish, some type of foundation.
Yeah.
Frank Rivers?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel the same way. I think there should definitely be a conversation had between the two men. That's what I would do, regardless of what side I was on, whether I was the new husband or the ex-husband, ex-boyfriend, or whatever. I actually posted about that too as a follow-up because it happened between Babyface and Deion Sanders. So I posted that clip also on my page talking about that, where we all know Babyface, the legendary singer, songwriter, producer. He was married. They got a divorce. Like they're still friends. They're still close. They have children together. And his ex-wife started dating Deion Sanders, the guy with the Jerry curl and the 5 gold chains and very flamboyant brother.
He fine.
Very flamboyant brother, and we know him at Jackson State and at Colorado and all of that. And so in the clip, like Babyface was being interviewed by Oprah Winfrey. And he said, look, once they got to a place in their relationship where Tracy and Deion thought it was time to meet the children. So he hadn't even met the children yet. So what Deion said was, when they got to a place in their relationship where they were, knew where it was going to be and it was time to meet the children, Deion made a call to him first and said, before I meet your children, I want to meet the man. I want to meet their father and have a conversation with him before I even meet your children, before I even go out to dinner with them, take them out, get ice cream, whatever. I want to meet you first and talk about some things and let you know who I am and what I'm about and all that good stuff. So, and then Babyface was like, look, before that, he didn't really know about Deion. He was very, prime, very flamboyant. But then after that happened, he had a lot of respect for Deion, and their whole situation has been great ever since. So I do believe that situation should happen, that two men should talk, and I do think that, men, there are some brothers like that. They have that Ike Turner thing where, you can leave if you want to leave, but the name stays home. You belong to me. And you ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to come over there when you in a drought. When you itching, I'm going to come scratch it. You know what I'm saying? You know what it is. And that's what it's going to be. And then, so a lot of times these men come around and only want to be fathers when there's a new man present. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't care nothing about the kid when she was single, when he could go over there and tap it, whatever. Now there's some new muscle bound, guy at the house with his shirt off, drinking orange juice out the fridge.
Oh, shit.
And now he's like, okay,
Butt naked.
butt naked, making breakfast. You know what I'm saying? And now he's like, oh, who is this? And now he want to be the father of the year and take the kid to Disneyland and all of that. And it has nothing to do with the child. It's all about seeing who this guy is, seeing how much you really care about him, and if him being here is going to stop me from being able to come over here when I want.
Do you think it's less of a threat when a baby mama is shacking versus when she's married?
What do you mean?
Because when you're shacking, I think your baby daddy thinks that it
it
ain't
ain't
gonna
no
last.
lockdown. Yeah.
It ain't gonna last. You know, I know her. It ain't gonna last for a couple of months because she gonna, you know what I'm saying?
I think marriage is more of a commitment. So like I said, so it seemed as, like you said earlier, loss of control. You know, it's like, oh man, it's more permanent. It's more in your face. It's more, man, this is really happening. Versus if you're just living together, I think at any moment you look at it as they could break up. They could separate. So I think, marriage kind of seals the deal that, he's going to be around for a while. And you have to mentally accept it that another man is going to be around your child. But like everyone's saying, it's a collaborative effort.
Yeah. I mean, the baby daddy, look, he's like this. Look, man, I've been here before. You had new booze before. I saw you post on your Facebook or whatever, new year, new you and all that. This dude ain't going to last. Okay. And when he don't last, I'm right back over there, with my toothbrush in your bathroom sink, on your bathroom sink. Like I'll wait this one out too. You know what I'm saying? But then, but when that man put a ring on, he put a couple carats on it, and now it's like, okay, he's not playing. You know what I mean? And she's not playing either because she accepted. And so, I think a lot of brothers, on that baby daddy side, they just believe that these women are going to be single forever, that they're not going to have a life, that their whole life is just working and taking care of these kids. And, and mama got to have a life too. You know what I mean? She's going to get to a point at some point where, you know what I mean, where, somebody could come around and, and want to put some carrots on it and make her a wife, and, and your situation changes. But at the end of the day, it has to be like Snipe said, it has to be about the children. So as a man, we have a lot of pride, we have a lot of ego. And so as the baby daddy, you have to put your pride, well, even as the new boo too, as the husband too, you have to put your pride to the side and say, look, what is in the best interest of this child? The child has to be first. And so I could put my pride, my ego to the side. I can take all the air out of my chest, and let's come together like men and figure out what is in the best interest of the child.
I think it's like the gentleman was saying, it goes back to respect. That's what it goes to, back to respect. But also, I believe that as a baby daddy, well, let's put it like this. I feel like amongst men can respectfully agree to disagree with each other, right? But I feel like situation dictates, because some of these situations, if they hood situations, it's not gonna work. I'm being serious. Like it all depends on the whole situation of it. If it's hood or if it's very professional. I feel like the more professional the two men are, the better it'll work out. But if it's a hood situation, and I'm talking about the baby mama hood, the baby daddy hood, the dude she dating is hood, then it ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work out whatsoever. So yeah.
I have a question. So Frank, you and I are both on Clubhouse. So we see stuff every day when we on Clubhouse. We've seen rooms that were made where they say that any man that decides to be a stepdad to a child is a simp. So my question to all three men, is that true or false in your opinion?
No.
Oh.
It really depends on the situation. So I have a definition for simping. But it mainly, like, doing something for somebody that you love is not simping. As long as you're doing it for somebody who's worthy of that. So if that woman, whether she has a child or not, has shown you and proven to you that she's worthy of whatever you're trying to give her, then you're not a simp. You know what I mean? And I really don't get involved in that, because a lot of these guys cap. If these single moms open their DMs up and show the world what these niggas is in their DMs saying, they stop capping. Like, you like single moms, you deal with single moms, you cried over a single mom, you played Ruben Studdard over a single mom because she didn't like you the way that you like her. So I don't really get involved in that. But I don't believe that a man who's in a relationship with a single mom is a simp. Let me say something real quick too. The ladies have to take accountability and responsibility for this stuff too. Because the reason why the new dude don't respect your ex is because of how bad you've been talking about this Negro.
This is true.
So if you talking about that man reckless, when I see him, I'm automatically going to disrespect him. If because I'm trusting you and what you saying. He's this, he that. He talked to me. He was abusive. He never came around his kids. He never did nothing for him. Never bought him nothing. So when I see him, I shake your hand for what? You know what I mean? Good afternoon for what? Like if you hype this man up to be a deadbeat, then the new guy is not really going to be inclined to have any type of respect for him whatsoever. So I think women also have to take responsibility and accountability and say, look, I can't really badmouth this guy if I want these men to come together and figure out a plan for the sake of the child.
Okay.
Absolutely. I got to second that. I don't think being a stepfather is a simp. And like, Frank was saying, like a lot of these men, if you really check the messages that they have sent out to women, single moms, you will obviously see that they are interested in single moms. They take single moms on dates. They spend money on single moms. So there's a lot of cap going on regarding this. And there's another side of this argument too, where a lot of people, creators, YouTube spaces, things like that, Clubhouse, they paint the picture that single moms are not wanted. But that's the lie. That's a complete lie. And I think that's important too, that you keep hearing, oh, don't date a single mom. Don't date a single mom. It's going to be bad. But men want single moms. So we have to stop the false narrative on that too as well.
Well,
on every level too. It's not just regular guy. I mean, Russell Wilson married a single mom. Like I don't care what your tax bracket is. Men across the board, rich, poor, 9 to 5, blue collar, white collar, whatever, men are dating and marrying single mothers.
Agreed.
All right, so all right, I'm gonna be honest. All right,
Speak your truth.
so here we go. All right, so I believe that men who do marry women who have children are simps.
Okay.
Told you.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you why.
I'm sorry.
All right. For one, like I said in the beginning, no man wants to naturally marry a woman who has kids with another man. It's just a pure fact. Second is there is no benefits. There's almost no benefits for a man to marry a woman who already has kids because there's so much disrespect there. One, most baby mamas don't want the stepdad to discipline that child. That's one. Number two, that stepdad is getting disrespected, right, in his own household. If he can't discipline the child, that means that the child is going to disrespect him. That means the woman is disrespecting him. And then also he takes disrespect. He may or may not take disrespect from the biological father. So there's almost zero benefits. Now, dang, I forgot what you said because this gets me a little bit riled up.
They in the DMs.
But oh yeah, the DMs thing. I'm sorry to say this, right? But I'm gonna say it.
Hey, speak your truth.
Most baby mamas in a man's world are looked at as a booty call. That's why they're in the DMs because they know, she's gonna lower her standards. This is an easy booty call. That's what this is. So most men, now there are some men, they lower their standards and they say, hey, this is all life has for me. So I'm going to go ahead and get with a woman who already has children. So they lower their standards to get with these women, to be honest with you. Because if you ask them when they're a child, would you want to have a wife with a woman? I mean, would you want to have a child with a woman who has children or a child with a woman who does not have children? They'll say, oh no, my wife, she's not going to have any children. whatsoever besides with me. You get what I'm saying? So they lower their standards to do this, but it's a sad thing to say, but most baby mamas, they're looked at as booty calls.
And that's where I was going with it. There are a lot of men in single mothers' DMs. You'll hear them all over social media say that single mothers are only for the streets. Single mothers are the women that you smash. So yes, they're going to be in your DMs, like Trevor said, late night, hoping that they can come up on a little something. The majority of men, if you're talking about social media, say single mothers are for the streets and all you use them for is sex. Now, when you step out into the real world, there are men that want to have large families. There are men that want to have children. And a lot of them. I know a man, we won't say his name, he left his 4 children with his mother, got with another female who had 2 children, moved across the street from his mother and his 4 children, and now does not understand why he is not respected by his biological children. So there are men that want to have children. And if a man wants to get with a woman that already has children, I wouldn't say that he's settling. I wouldn't say that has low self-esteem. There used to be a time when men knew there was the necessity that we had a village.
There's a need, yeah.
And here's another thing. Sniper, you said that the tweet was kind of aggressive. I didn't see it as aggressive. I seen it as being blunt and clear language. What else did I write down here? As far as how this situation is going to come about. I meet Trevor. Trevor loves me. Trevor loves me and my children. He wants to marry me. Now, Trevor already know the story. As long as I don't embellish the story, I am not calling my baby daddy a deadbeat if this is the truth. And if Trevor has been around me long enough, which he should be if he is anticipating marrying me, he sees that the dad doesn't show up. He sees that the dad doesn't call. So
he's paying attention.
He's paying attention. So my story is collaborating what's being done in the real world. Now, it would be great for all of us to sit at the table. And I'm going to tell my baby daddy, oh, you ain't going to be coming around here no more. You don't got easy access no more. I'm about to get married. At that point in time, okay, I'm not going to say it. What's the solution? What should happen once I meet a man that wants to marry me and take my child in, and I tell my baby daddy or my ex that I'm getting married? Men, what's the next step? What's the next move?
Well, y'all got to plan out when is he going to see the kids? You got to plan out let's say when them two are going to meet.
I think that's the first step. I absolutely believe. Go ahead. I believe it should be a meeting.
Yeah. I think that's definitely maturity. That's when the maturity needs to come in. Because at that point, we need to sit down and remember the focus has to be the kids. We get caught up in our feelings, the old feelings, what he used to do to me and what all this kind of stuff. We got to get past that. And the adults that are involved in this situation need to step up, have a sit down meeting and decide what the rules are that's going to be in place. Because even when you come to discipline, I've seen this work before where the stepfather has set some rules in place and says, you know what, because you got a F on whatever, you can't be on the game this week, even when you go with your dad. And they work together with that. And when he comes to pick up the kid, he says, hey, he's on restriction because he didn't do what he was supposed to. And those kind of things works. So I think that interaction where everybody is mature and you work together, you have a well-rounded kid that's coming from all of this stuff when the parents and the adults involved can work together and, come to these solutions.
This is why it's not the women per se, but this is why a lot of men stay away from single moms because I don't want to do all that, man. You know what I mean? If the kid is acting up, I'm checking on site. I'm checking immediately. I'm not picking up the phone to call Snipe. to say, look, man, little man wilding out. What do you think we should do about this? I'm not, we don't pay my mortgage, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily that the women are bad women or for the streets, because, and that's another thing, like when brothers say that about single moms and how they may be for the streets, I just look at everything objectively. Let's say hypothetically, she was with her high school sweetheart. They had a kid, they broke up. She's only been with one guy, but she has a child. You could get with a young lady who doesn't have a kid, who been out here letting that thing fly. You know what I'm saying? She just don't have a kid, but everybody done had it. Everybody done pipe, you know what I'm saying? But she just don't have a kid to show for it. You know what I'm saying? So in your mind, which, now I get it, most men would just say, I don't care. I'm gonna take that one because I don't have to see, what she's done or what she might have did with somebody else. So I'll still take that. But at the end of the day, you still have to have a conversation. And that's why a lot of these situations with the new husband and the wife, that's why they don't work, because there's no communication. We don't know how to discipline. So I posted another clip the other day where Omar Epps swung on this white guy, you know what I'm saying? Because his ex and his son, his ex got married to this white guy. They lived together, and the son had some issues with, I think it's some substance abuse, like maybe some drug issues. And so the new father disciplined the child, like he put hands on him. And so Omar Epps, the ex-boyfriend or whatever, the baby daddy, comes over. He's like, yo, you ain't check in, you ain't say nothing to me, but you putting hands on my child. And so the new husband was like, well, I can do that. You ain't been around. I ain't never seen you before. You know what I mean? Why should I have to call you or stop what I'm doing to have a conversation with you? You know what I mean? When you ain't even been around. So in this house, I beat. You know what I'm saying? I beat every kid in this house if they get out of line. That's what we do in my house, where these children stay. So if you know what I mean, and then y'all saw what happened at the end. Omar swung on him and put him to sleep. But it's just stuff like that. You have to be on the same page with discipline. And I think moms, ladies who are out here meeting new guys who are dating, you have to have conversations like this with him, because you don't want to put the new guy in a situation where he's like, look, this is what I do, and that's what I do now. And all of a sudden he coming around and I got to stop doing what I'm doing for him. Like I don't move like that. The train don't go back. You know what I mean? If I've been whooping, just because daddy's here now, just because the biological father popped up out of nowhere, don't mean I'm gonna start doing time out. You know what I mean? So it's just the conversation, communication has to always be open. And again, you have to put the best interest of the child at hand, and you have to you just have to communicate. Everybody has to be on the same page. If you're not, you're going to have problems, and that's why the breakup rate and the divorce rate is higher for marriages with stepchildren.
Do you think that?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, absolutely. What Frank was saying. I can't tell a grown man what to tweet, but I'm just going to say that if the doctor would have started the conversation tweet with, hey, I'm gonna have a conversation with the ex first, I think that type of energy would have been a little bit better versus what he actually did. But he's a grown man. He can tweet whatever he wants to tweet. It's just that, if you are a responsible father reading that, you're not going to take, too kindly to how he worded or the verbiage he used. I also want to bring up one small point Frank brought up earlier about a lot of times what the woman is saying about the ex matters, right? And I'm gonna give you a small example. So there was a new girl I was dating. Things were going well, and she was being emotional, and I was giving her a very strong, tight hug, and then she started crying even more, and then she says, "I feel so safe with you. I never felt safe with my ex." So that type of language instantly, what does that make me say as a man? That if I see the ex, right, I'm gonna feel some type of way, because it's like, okay, she didn't feel safe with you. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta be careful how we frame conversations around the ex.
And that's why I think it's very important for everybody to get together. Here's the thing. The biological father is now going to be the stepfather because this stepfather stepped in where the biological father stepped out of the picture. So you cannot have your cake and eat it too, baby daddy, when you did not do what this man is about to do. He is covering your children. He is covering your baby mama, something that you left the door
Unattended.
open about, and he was able to slide in. Because if you are that perfect baby daddy, 9 times out of 10 the baby mama ain't trying to go nowhere. She not trying to blow the bag. She not trying to blow that connection. So let's take the ego out of the situation and let's be adults. You guys are saying for the best interest of the child. It's for the best interest of the child, the best interest of the marriage, and the best interest of this now, what's going to be a blended family. We are adults. We are supposed to act like adults. And let's sit at this round table and talk about discipline. Because like you guys mentioned, he might want to whoop and I might not want my children to be whooped. And see, right there, that's a deal breaker. So this marriage might not even happen. But if me and my future husband get on the same page about what's going to go on in this household, then we bring the baby daddy in, and we sit and we at the table and we decide what's going to be done for the benefit and the health of the children. So it doesn't have to be a, hey man, I'm about to whoop your kids. You already know what the get down is.
I guess my thing is that I'm just looking at when you're dating. Usually before you even get to that point of moving in, the discussion should have been had already as far as discipline, as far as them introducing them to the kids, and as far as introducing them to the father of your child if you guys have a decent relationship with one another. I don't think it should be we're waiting until we say we're going to get married now, so now I think we should have this discussion.
Yes.
I think that discussion should be had prior to you even deciding to get married to someone. Also, when it comes to discipline, people discipline different. I know as for me, I don't believe in whoopings. I don't. I was raised, my mom whooped me. My dad never did. But I don't whoop. I don't. I feel like I can communicate and get a point across without having to grab a weapon or, a belt or whatever it is near around me to discipline a child. That's just not how I move. So any individual that I were to enter a relationship with, that's a discussion that we would have because I'm not into that punishment style. That's just me. Also, back to what was mentioned earlier about stepmoms being for the streets or stepmoms being for booty calls or whatnot. I'm going to disagree on that because not all single moms give it up like that. A lot of single moms are actually celibate, believe it or not. And a lot of us aren't ratchet, date hood niggas or hood material, whatever you want to call it. Like we don't move in that way. Some of us literally just do our thing and raise our children. Also, I think that we had stepdads back in your 50s, 40s, 30s, 60s, 70s. Yeah, we did actually.
That's not true.
I'm gonna tell you, we did, because I know people in my family that were raised by
Yeah, we
stepfathers.
absolutely did.
Actually, we
yeah,
did.
but
Let me
not
finish.
as much
Hold
as
on.
today.
Let me finish. We did have stepfathers that existed that stepped up to the plate for men that decided to be Rolling Stones. And you know what happened? Nothing. They never got shit for it. They never were put down. They were never looked at as like a negative thing.
Right.
They were actually applauded. They were actually celebrated because they stepped up to the plate to raise someone else's child or children
Exactly.
when it happened. This simping thing that people like to throw out, actually, in my opinion, I think it's a joke because some of these people were raised by stepfathers. Now, granted, some stepfathers were abusive. Some stepfathers ain't shit. Some stepfathers shouldn't have never been in the picture. I agree with you on that. Take that up with your mama. Not my problem. But I think that we shouldn't be shitting on men that step up to the plate and say, not only do I want to marry your mother, but I'm also open to helping you raise your children since said individual decided to step away from the picture. I think we got to stop doing that. This is why I frown on people calling some of these celebs, I'm not mentioning names, simps, because I'm just like, that's not even a simp. You're calling him a simp for
'Cause he stepped
being an
up.
adult. You're calling him a
Yeah.
simp for marrying a woman. You're calling him a
Exactly.
simp for raising somebody else's children.
Right.
That seems backwards to me. That's like backwards thinking. But I will agree with you. In a perfect world, no one wants to marry someone with children. I agree with you. You do want to have your own children, raise your own family in a perfect world. But we don't live in a perfect world. Some people get divorced. Some people are widows. Some people never married and have children. And now they're, they're into the dating game. They're in the dating market and they're trying to have a second chance at life. It happens, right? But I don't think people deserve to be shitted on or treated like shit or called for the streets solely because of a past decision. Because if that's the case, we've all made mistakes in this world. All. The only difference is some single moms, we show for it. Right? You see what we did. You see our choice, whether we have a child or children. You see our choice. You see it. Yeah,
right
we
there.
chose to stay, as opposed to most men that, they don't, or they get to walk away, or they only have the child maybe once every other week or once every
year.
3 months or once a year for Christmas so you can take a picture and say, I'm that
Exactly.
doting dad, right? I mean, like, it differs. I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. But go ahead.
All right. So the reason they're not called simps because necessarily they want to take care of somebody else's child or necessarily because they want to get married to a baby mom or something. They're called simps because they lowered their expectations. They said, this is the best I'm going to get, so this is who I'm going to get with. But it's not who they necessarily wanted to be with. That's why they're called simps. Man, you brought up a lot of stuff I had. You brought up a lot of stuff, but the reason, so you got to understand something. The reason why in a man's world, baby mamas are looked at as booty calls. And I know you said that most of them are celibate. Well,
Not most. I didn't say most. I said
you
some.
all right, so some of them are celibate.
Yeah.
How much sense does it make for you to have a kid and then have a kid already? And then I know you got to respect the woman, right? But then when the next man comes up who doesn't have kids and you say, oh, I'm holding it until marriage. But you didn't hold it until marriage for the first guy. You already gave it up. So it really doesn't make any sense. And then I can't remember everything. I can't remember everything that you said. And then the whole stepdaddy thing. So yeah, you're right. 30s, 40s, they did have stepdaddies. But not as many as they do today.
Agreed.
Not as many as they do today. Before the 60s, before the 60s, there was not a lot of stepdaddies. After the 60s, there were a lot of stepdaddies because of welfare and things like that. Because
Hold up. No. We hold up. We had the largest rate of marriage in the
before
70s. In the 70s, you better look it up. In the 70s. So I had to correct you on that. I had to give you a little pushback on that. We had the largest rate of black marriages in 1970s.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I was 10 years off. But still, as black people, we did. But but after then, right? After then, because that's when welfare and stuff came, stuff like
The
that.
crack epidemic. It wasn't the welfare that caused the families to break up.
No,
Mostly.
well, actually, it was because welfare incentivized women to not have the father in the home, and then the crack epidemic was in the 80s.
Correct.
That was another thing. So, but I don't want to get off a topic.
Stop,
Yes.
because I can't let you tell that lie.
Go ahead.
The welfare incentivized the women to get on welfare how?
But no, the welfare incentivized women not to have the father in the household.
Why?
Why?
Because they got paid more money.
Why?
What do you mean why?
Why?
Why did they
What
have
was-
to get on welfare?
That was the what do you mean why they have to?
Why did
Why
they
did
have
they
to
have
get
to
on
get on
welfare?
welfare?
Why did they decide I'm going to leave my air quotes?
Because they weren't making enough money.
Who is they?
Who?
Well, women.
And who else?
But where they daddy go?
Where the man at?
Where the man at?
Well, the man during that where the man went. Hold on. The man don't say they were in jail because at that time
I'm asking you.
At that point they weren't in the household.
Why?
They weren't in the
Where'd
household.
they go?
Where'd they go? How did they
It
go
was a
from the house to
plethora-
leave?
There was a number of reasons why.
Name one.
A number of reasons why. One, more women getting jobs. Two, more women.
Wait.
Let him finish. Let him finish. Let him
more
finish.
women. No, there was more women getting jobs. Number two is they could have. Most of them weren't choosing to stay with the woman. Number three, let's see. I can't think of a third, but there's a lot of reasons. There's an actual lot of reasons why.
Why the daddy left
This
his
is why I
kids.
laugh. This is why I laugh when I hear certain people say things and they regurgitate. And I'm
Okay,
not
go
saying
ahead.
you're wrong.
No, go ahead.
I'm gonna just say this though. A lot of that, when we go back and you do your research and you
Right.
look into how welfare was established, right? We already know it wasn't established for black women. Initially, it was established for white people, right? So when the black women were actually granted welfare and whatnot and how they qualified, the main reason how they qualified was they were not married. They had they were having children with men that were not their husbands. And so the government was like, we'll take care of you. We'll take care of the children. But if you have an adult male living with you in that house, we're not taking care of him. Because
Yeah.
he's not your because he's not your
agree.
husband.
Not your
he's
baby
not
daddy.
he's not your husband. We're not taking care of another grown male in that house with those kids. So women had to make a decision. Keep him, the man that's not marrying me, but we're procreating and the kids are starving and we need to eat, or have a conversation with him and say, you're going to have to leave when they come and they check in these houses. You're going to have to leave when they come in here and look in here and search and see if anybody else lives here. Why? Because you're not my husband. So, and
That's
if
true.
you're my dude. We have children together. Kids are hungry.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
And I'm telling you, the head of the household, the leader of the house, you got to bounce. You going to bounce?
No.
What you going to do?
No. I'm gonna say, but
What happened though? What did the men do?
So let's put it like this, right? So when I said Social Security, when welfare came out, right? No, when welfare came out, it was under LBJ.
Okay.
LBJ called it the nigger bill because he knew that black people were going to sign up for it, right? But not so. I keep saying Social Security. Welfare was not just for white women. It was not. All those social programs that were created under LBJ, right? They were for black people, but for the detriment of black people, for the downfall of the black family.
So it was, I'm sorry, Mona, I'll let you finish, I promise. So it was created initially for white women. And then when our black men came back from overseas from fighting or whatnot, there were no jobs for them. There were no jobs, right? Let me finish.
Go ahead.
There were no jobs and whatnot, right? And so they were starting to then allow black women to get on welfare, right? So you had some people that, again, had to make that decision. Feed my kids, keep a man. What decision you think they're going to do? And you also, and there's video, there's proof, there's documentaries that are out there that show a lot of men were creating women in multiple households and saying, shit, she can get on welfare.
Creating children.
She
Yeah.
can get on welfare.
And that right there is true.
Yeah.
And that right there is true. But I feel like we're getting off topic now. But
can go back.
what I want to say,
Hold on.
Yeah.
Because see, here's the problem right there. When we start to correct you about the negative narratives, now we're getting off topic. Hold on. I got to correct both of y'all. When welfare was first initiated, it was for white families. The man could stay in the house.
The man could stay. He could.
Yes, the man could stay in the house. The black women were not allowed to get on welfare back then. When they did the nigger bill, and they did allow black women to get on welfare, the stipulation was she could only have so many assets. They had to go through the white glove test. That house has to be spotless. And there could not be a man in the house.
yes.
So like Nisha said, I come to you and I'm like, baby, we're about to get evicted. Baby, we're about to starve. And you don't have a solution? Am I supposed to let you stay? And we all starve and die together? Or are you going to be a man and be like, hey, I'm out. Get that money temporarily. I'm out.
back.
I'm about to go back. I'm coming back to reclaim my family. And you're going to get off the county. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So we can't dismiss the conversation when it's not looking in good in y'all favor.
No, the reason why I said that was because I was gonna say, hey, let's get together after this and I'll show you. That's the reason why. Because I'm confident with what I'm saying. I'm very confident. I'm not saying, as you hear, I've agreed with her on some of the things that she said, But the reason why I said we're getting off topic because I didn't want to turn it into a back and forth. That's the reason.
Agreed.
Why.
It's
You
good
see-
to
you
do it
get
back.
what I'm-
It's good to do
You
it
get what
back
I'm
and
saying? But I'm confident in what I'm saying. I know because I like I said, it came under LBJ. I know this. I've studied it. You know what I'm saying? Not saying like
Likewise.
I'm not like a nerd or college nerd or anything like that.
Nothing wrong with being a nerd.
But what I'm getting at is like I'm confident in what I'm saying. I'm just saying, let's get back to the subject because I'll get with her after.
Okay, we're gonna get back to the subject, but I
That's the reason why I said
just
it.
gotta add one more thing.
look,
Yeah.
Hold on, let me add one more thing. And men were on the welfare too.
Bingo.
Men get on welfare. They get
General
general
relief.
relief. They
Bingo.
get vouchers.
They do.
They get it too. But see, we always want to just talk about and blame everything on the women. So let's.
Who's majority of women are on it though? It's majority women, not men.
The majority of black women are not on welfare.
Believe it or not.
No. He's saying of the people that are on it, the majority of them are women.
And there are some that need to be on it,
Yes.
and there are some that get on my damn nerves, and they need to go out there and get them a damn job. So I'm in agreement with a lot of things. I just didn't like how you just try to play this picture. See, in order for us to get this divisiveness out of us, we got to tell the truth on both sides. Right now, we're about to flip it, and y'all can flip the fuck out. I'm talking to the men.
Okay.
In the news that ties in with this situation, American Next Top model Eva Marcel is asking for a divorce from her husband. What is his name? Timothy?
Isn't he like a councilman?
What's his name? Nobody knows. Well, she's
Eva's husband.
That's his name. That's his name.
Eva is asking for a divorce from her husband. I think they were together for 8 years. They were married for 5 years, and he adopted her daughter. And now she's asking for sole custody, and they had 2 children together. So now she's asking for sole custody of all 3 of the children, and she actually wants child support. I'm going straight to you, Trevor. Your
Okay.
thoughts.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you.
His name is Michael Sterling.
Michael Sterling.
Michael Stern. Yeah.
All right, so like he said, majority of women initiate divorce. So it doesn't surprise me. Women break up homes, right? Now let's put it like this: legally, she can get child support from him because even for her kid is because legally, if the father has been in her life for so long or something like that, she can get actual child support even though he's not the biological father. And in most of the cases, I think it's 98% or 96%, she'll get child support from him, and she'll get custody of all 3 kids. But I disagree with it. 110%, I disagree with it. But I mean, that's one of the risks that you take getting married, and also getting married with a woman who has a kid. That's one of the risks you take. So
I agree.
I think if he adopted her, that's his. He has to still take responsibility for her.
Okay, how do you feel about the divorce?
I wasn't privy to the fact that he was a cheater, because I have always thought that they had just such this wonderful relationship. I think they made a cute little couple. I just recently heard that it was a lot of infidelity in their relationship. So I'm cool with them divorcing. But I do think that once you take on a responsibility and you've accepted a child and said that, okay, I'm adopting them, you take on all the responsibility that goes along with it. And if that means financially caring for them, I think that's what you need to do.
Nisha Williams,
What's the question?
your thoughts on Eva asking for a divorce?
I guess the main question would be, why is she filing for divorce? Right now, of course, it's the typical irreconcilable differences, right? I believe that, she should get child support for the first 2, right? I'm sorry, not the first 2, for the last 2. The last 2, since those are biologically his children. For the first one, I don't believe he should be held liable for, because the other father is still in existence. Granted, they've had a heated a heated relationship where they've been involved in court or whatnot, back and forth, abuse, etc. It's from my knowledge, from what I understand, the husband didn't adopt her first child. He just gave the first child his last name. His
Okay,
last
so
name.
that is a
So
difference.
that's my understanding. But I do think if they're going through a divorce or they're separating or whatnot, I do think that he should be, liable for his children. So I don't have a problem with that.
So you're saying that a man can give a child his last name without adopting him?
I don't think you could.
I guess you can in Atlanta. Yeah. Especially if especially if the other father's parental rights were taken.
Her husband is currently saying that he is going to fight for his family. Your thoughts, Mr. Rivers, on Eva's asking for a divorce?
This is why a lot of brothers are not, excited about dating women with children. This is why a lot of brothers are not excited about getting married. Period. Because you invest the time, the energy, the money, and then the majority of the time, the woman, can wake up and say, "I don't want to do this no more. I want to pursue my dreams," and that's it. And now you liable for half or whatever the situation is, depending on what state. But I would say if he, just hypothetically, if he did adopt the child, then he should take financial responsibility for the child. I can't go out here and buy a car from my girlfriend and then when we break up say I ain't paying the note no more. You know what I'm saying? I've signed the paperwork, it's my car now. You know what I'm saying? So I got to pay, whether we together or not. Even if I bought it for you, you know what I'm saying? If we went into it together, then I'm legally responsible for that car even after we break up. So, if he did adopt, then he should do that. If he didn't adopt, then that's messed up on her part, but I can understand what she's saying. What she's saying is, look, I have 3 children, and they deserve to be treated the same, equally. And so, yeah, that's not your son or your daughter, but we have 2 together. And if you're doing for them, how can I look at my first child and say, okay, the younger 2 are getting, a Mercedes for their 16th birthday, and you're going to have to get a Honda Civic because your dad didn't give me no money. You know what I'm saying? So you got to get whatever you could get, and while your younger 2 siblings out here balling. You know what I mean? She, as a mom, she's a mother to all 3 children. So she has to look out for all 3 children. You know what I mean? So even though it's messed up from the man's perspective, I understand it, from how a mom would look at it. But it's still, it's tricky, man. I just, that right there is why a lot of brothers, it's not the woman. Like, Eva is beautiful. She's talented. It's not the woman. It's the whole situation around it. It's like, I gotta raise kids that ain't mine. I gotta deal with the baby daddy. What if she's still in love with the baby daddy? What if he's still in love with her? What if every time we get an argument and I'm thinking she coming in at 8, she'll get into 9:30. Where was she at? Was she with the baby daddy? Whatever. He's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So it's the situation. It's not necessarily her. It's the situation surrounding her that makes men say, look, I don't even want to deal with that. I can't, and I won't.
Yeah. I'm going to say that, second those sentiments, and also point to that. Yes, a lot of men who are single, doing their thing, they don't want to be in a committed relationship because of scenarios like this, right or wrong. It's my understanding that he does not want to get divorced, and he is aggressively fighting to work it out with her and wants to keep the family together. That's my understanding of it from the details. But it seems like, she's pretty set on making this happen, and she's asking for support for the first child. So, legally, if he adopted, then yes, he would have to, follow that. But I believe that what would make it more fair is if she was to say, hey, that's not biologically his child. This child does have a father somewhere in the world. He's still alive. So I'm not going to make him take care of this child forever until they're 18 or 21, just because we are divorcing. So I believe that would be a good look on her if she was to do that. Like Frank said, she is a mother. She has to look out for all three. But the truth of the matter is, the first child, like y'all said earlier, he stepped up, right? He took responsibility, right? So return that favor and say, hey, we are divorcing, we are departing. And why are we departing? Because of me. So because it's my choice to depart, I'm not going to put this responsibility on you.
Right. Step up and get
But
me
he's-
off them papers. I'm not going to say step. Don't do that to me. Step up and make sure I don't have to pay no child support. Do that.
So let's take it back. When Eva first got with Michael, she was going through some things with her baby daddy. He was a wild boy.
Crazy.
And most of the time, like we said, that is one of the reasons why men are reluctant in getting with baby mamas, because they don't know if the baby daddy is in the cut, if he wild, if he deranged, if he's crazy, if she's still feeling him. So it was very commendable, in my opinion, that man went through all of that drama with her, gave her a ring, she walked down the aisle, she became married, and then he gave that child his last name or adopted that little girl. Hold on, I'm not finished. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. A man like that, you give some understanding to. You give some admiration to. You give some extra love to.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do that man like you would do any other man off the streets. So here's my thing. Was it true that the man was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? Or was it Eva in the picture helping him be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? Because what I don't understand is how you mentally would even want to think to go from baby mama to a married woman back to a goddamn baby mama. I want to question her mindset. I want to question who's in her ear. Mm-hmm. Because this is the time when the sisterhood is supposed to come together. Mm-hmm. I don't give a damn what that man did. Y'all took some vows. Anybody that knows me knows that I believe in the sanctity of marriage. I believe that you should not play with marriage. You stood in front of family, friends, enemies, and whoever you called your God and said to death do us part. And it just seems to me that when the worst comes in, you want to bail the fuck out. I don't give a damn. You work that shit out. That was a great man at one time, you said, because you walked down that aisle. You accepted his ring. You accepted his provision. You accepted his protection. You not gonna always get your way. Things are gonna happen. How you test your faith, how you test your marriage is when this bad shit come up. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to be able to overcome that shit. And especially for a man that just took you out of the goddamn hole that you was in and married your ass and adopted your child.
Here's the thing, though. We are not privy to exactly why they broke up, which I think makes a whole big, we're speculating and assuming and all of this. However, she may have been very clear that cheating is a deal breaker for me. And if I find out you've been fucking somebody else, we done. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case and you've agreed to take on my daughter, how? And then let's get in the kids' place for a second. Here it is, you guys been raised together, and now all of a sudden, now we're going to treat the oldest one different because we decided we can't work our thing out. And you done gave my baby your name, you done all this. You assume responsibility at that point. I feel very strongly about that. He decided that he wanted to adopt this little girl, give her the name or whatever. Maybe it ain't an adoption, but still, if we're treating all these kids the same, think of how this little girl gonna feel, that abandonment she might feel when all of a sudden now, he's helping these kids, but we're brother and sister, but I'm getting treated, I gotta deal with my retarded father over here. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. To me, you put these kids in these situations where now they're affected. Big.
And that's one of the reasons why they need to work that shit out.
Okay. So this is why A lot of men sit there and say that they don't want to date women with children. This is like your number one reason why, because of the confusion that it could cause. I am in agreement that if you have things set in place like these are my deal breakers, you cross them deal breakers, there is no coming back from it. Understand it? Got it. I understand that he's, telling the world right now that he wants to fight for his marriage. Respect it. I love it. But I think that the moment you decide, because he's been dating her since that first child was 15 months. So the only true man that she really knows as her dad is him.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I personally, if it was me, I can't see myself saying I'm going to throw that child support on him for her when I know who that real father is. I think I would probably just have to eat it. You know what I mean? Just take care of the other two. But I understand how it could come across as the moment you decide to accept responsibility, if you're going to say that child is my child too, I get that side too. It's like I'm on that fence because from a legal side of it, I understand it. I have a legal background, unfortunately. And then from the other side of from the emotional standpoint, as a mother, I get that side too. I do get that marriages are different from just having a regular relationship. A regular relationship, the simplest thing can cause the demise of a relationship and you can walk away. Right. It is what it is. Right. And a marriage is different. In a marriage, you're supposed to fight it as long as you can, do what you got to do. However, it's only so much a person, whether it's the husband or the wife, can take before they say, I'm done.
Exactly.
I'm done. Frank made a point at the beginning of the show where he spoke on blended families, how that divorce rate typically happens. It usually ends in a divorce. It usually does. In this case, this is just more proof that a lot of times when it comes to blended families, divorce is prone to happen. So exactly. I don't know. I don't know on that one. That one I'm on the fence. I get it.
So he cheated? That's what he did?
Allegedly.
Yeah. So allegedly.
We're not
now,
sure.
my question is, right, because we're putting this on the man, but what did she do for him to cheat? And not to mention, with him being, I'm guessing he's, so I don't know the guy, but I'm pretty sure he's got some money.
He's in the political world.
Yeah. So since he's got some money, he has a lot of options.
Absolutely.
So I mean, she should know, like, it comes that comes with it. We don't want to say it; it doesn't sound nice, but I mean,
it's the truth.
It comes with it. You know, when you marry a man who's got a lot of money, he's got women are throwing every single day, or you could say every other day or every other month, but he's getting women thrown at him. But yeah, I wonder. But my thing is like, what did she do? Did she stop having sex with him? Like what did she do? Like she said, we don't know the full dynamics of the situation, so we can only talk about like the little details that we do know.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But I know in most of these situations, we always focus on what the man did.
Right.
What did the woman do? What wasn't she doing?
True. I'm in agreement. Like it takes two to make it work or to end a marriage. It takes two. What part did she play in it? So I'm in agreement with you on that.
I believe so. We all sit here and say we don't believe in divorce. Everybody says that, you know what I'm saying? And it just don't be the case at the end of the day.
The numbers don't lie. Hold on.
Go ahead.
The numbers don't lie, but how about let's separate? See,
I was going to get at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because see, I've never been married. Because here's the thing. Fuck around and marry me. It's going to be death to us part. Because it's a difference between renting and owning. When you rent, you can lease. You can lease for a year. You can go from month to month. You can skip out on the shit. And you may never be able to rent in a great area again. But when you're talking about owning, that's a commitment. That's a long-term commitment.
At least
that can be profitable. You know what I'm saying? So when you say you're going to marry Mona Deshae, you better know it's to death do us part. For me, there's nothing that we can get past. If we come across some obstacles and cheating, your good cheating ass too, we're going to separate. Because I said this man is better than any other man. I don't see how you take these vows and then you don't have no favor for your man. Okay, fuck, you got options. You fucked up. You got to acknowledge that you fucked up. It's not what I did wrong. You fucked up. Because at the end of the day, you're a man. So you're supposed to provide and protect. You failed to protect me when you choose your options and go sleep with Nisha. You just failed to protect me. So, like we said, we don't know what the stipulations are, but just to go from marriage and I love you so much and I had your babies, you adopted my baby, to, oh, I want a divorce and I won't have. Before I continue, gentlemen, did you have something that you wanted to say?
I did. I feel like if he's fighting, and we don't even know that too, if he's fighting the actual having to pay child support for that. I mean, we know we're trying to fight. We know he's trying to fight for his marriage, but when I first heard it, I'm thinking like he probably didn't even want to do that. He probably did it to appease her, to let her know that, I'm here for the long haul and I love your kid and the kids we're gonna make together. Because if he did it because he just wanted to do it, he just wanted to be that child's father, then whether you with the mother or not, I'm still your daddy. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just something that we have to live with as men. Exactly. You know what I mean? Regardless of, like I said, I've been married almost 17 years. If for some strange reason we don't make it another year, we have 2 children and I can't divorce them. You know what I'm saying? And I won't. You know what I mean? I just can't do that. And so if it was something that he wanted to do, it was in his heart, like, I want this child to have my name. I want this child to be in the eyes of this government in this country. That's mine. That's my baby. Then that doesn't change when y'all get a divorce or if you separate or none of that. So if he was in a situation where he was kind of fighting it and saying, I don't want to do that, I don't think it's fair, then it just comes off to me like he's doing it to appease her. And that's another thing that a lot of brothers do that could be quote unquote called simping when they deal with a woman with kids. Is they doing all this stuff, they playing daddy, you know what I mean? They buying cleats for football, they doing all this stuff. And like the brother said on the, in the studio, what is this man getting for? He gave that baby his name. Mm-hmm. He's been taking care of that child. He's been taking care of his mother. I mean, Eva, she's attractive, she's talented, but if you ain't heard her name since this, you know what I mean? She ain't popular like that. She ain't got a bag like that. So, you know what I mean? So he did all that and wound up still getting walked off on and got to pay for a child that, legal. I mean, technically is not his. So what did he get? You know what I mean? And that's what a lot of men are looking at. Like, what are we getting by doing this? I can't discipline it. See, me personally, I can't protect nobody I can't correct. If I can't correct you, I can't protect you, period. I'm sorry. You know Absolutely. What I mean? That's just how I move. But there are a lot of men who are signing up for a lot. A lot is being put on their shoulders and they just don't see the reward. I can't discipline the child. And I talk to the child a certain way. You looking at me funny because why you talk to my child like that? What do you mean your child? Like, this child lives in our house, my house. You know what I mean? That's my child too. You know what I mean? If I can pay for them, if I can, pull up if I can go in their room and hold them when they scared, when they have a nightmare, then I should be able to correct them, when they acting up. You know what I mean? I think that's fair. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, but just to wrap it up, I feel like if he was fighting it, it's because he never really wanted to do it from the beginning. He just did it because he thought that was something that she wanted to do, or she told him that's what she wanted him to do, and he did it to make her happy.
Sniper.
I mean, outside of that, he basically, said my points. I don't know if it was an appeasement type of thing. Let's hope not, because I feel like once you start taking care of a child, you start being invested in their life. No matter what happens, you're gonna still be in that child's life. You're still gonna go to their games. You're still gonna support them. You're still gonna go to the prom, the graduations. You're still gonna do all that stuff, regardless of what paperwork might come between you and the mom or whatever. But at the same time, I think a lot of men are just pointing to this example, like, see, this is why we don't want to get married. This is why we don't propose. This is why I was talking to one of my other guy friends. He's like, this is why when I get in a relationship, I take my time. Because a lot of women always say, well, you should know in the first, I guess, several weeks or months if you want to marry me or not. He's saying, no, this is why, I'm taking much longer than that. I'm doing well in life. I'm responsible. I'm set. So, you should respect my decision.
I think this is a time when married women should surround her and married couples should surround them, collectively, because we want marriages to last. We want marriages to be the example of where to go to. You're not always going to get your way. Everything is not always going to go right, but you guys are together for a reason. We're going to wrap this up. So I'm going to ask everybody to give us your final thoughts. So let's start with you, Mr. Rivers.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank y'all so much for having me on the platform. I've truly enjoyed it. I'm a huge fan of BGP. I listen as much as I can.
Thank you.
Nisha got to start respecting Scorpios, though. But outside of that, it's always a pleasure listening to y'all. I would just say, look, man, do things when your heart is in it. When you're in a relationship, any type of relationship, regardless, it can work. I don't care if it's, blended family, no children, whatever dynamic your relationship is, it can work as long as y'all respect one another, as long as you communicate, and you're honest. It can work. But single moms are not, spawn. You know what I mean? They are not, horrible. And those situations don't always have to be horrible. There are some great women out here who have children. Their children are behaved. They have a great relationship with the other parent, and everything is on point. And they make great wives for a man who wants to be a part of that situation. But at the end of the day, communicate, be honest, talk about everything. When y'all go on these dates, y'all, you posting where you went, what the food looked like. Have some real conversations. How are we going to discipline these children? Where are we going to live? What type of school are they going to go to? You grew up Baptist, I grew up Methodist. How are we going to raise them spiritually? Whatever. Have all these conversations up front so that, when you get into the storms of the relationship that will come, you already prepared for it. You know what I mean? And you can work your way through it. So that's all. Again, thank y'all for having me.
Sniper, final thought?
Great conversation. Definitely a needed conversation. I love the back and forth. I just want to say that, we need to start, like you said, having the conversations. When you first meet somebody, go ahead and ask them the serious conversations. Don't wait too long for that. I was just telling you about one of my friends and saying he likes to take his time as far as thinking about proposing. So if you're out here dating and you know that, you don't want to take too long to know where someone's timeline is regarding getting married, go ahead and get to know that on maybe within the first week. Getting to know them. Hey, how do you feel about marriage?
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times people get together, you don't feel, they tell you weeks later that they don't even want to get married. Y'all on the 10th date and you just now, being told, oh, I don't really care for marriage. I don't really, that's not really my thing, as they say, so start having those conversations early, up front, being honest, definitely. Of course, we need to start doing things for the best interest of the child. Like y'all said, take your emotions out of it, take your ego out of it. And that can be very hard at times, because we feel like our feelings matter and stuff like that. But the child, the betterment of the child does matter as well. And I guess regarding, you said that married couples need to surround the Eva, and I guess his name is Chris, right? Michael. Right. Not Chris. Excuse me. I feel like that's a cultural thing that we need to establish more, right? So when we're getting married, when we become married couples, we need to establish who are our elders, who we're going to talk to when we have troubled times.
Absolutely.
Right? As a men, who are we going to talk to when things are going turbulent, right? As women, who are you going to talk to? Who's that woman that you can call, right, late at night and you dealing with a serious issue? Hey, I'm going through it with my husband. We really going through this. Who can I speak to in a serious way? So I think just establishing those cultural things is super important. These are just conversations that we need to have more. But once again, thank you so much.
Trevor? Final thought?
Oh man, hey, it was an honor to be on the show. I'm hoping you invite me back on the show.
For sure.
I think the two topics were awesome, and I think us as adults, we need to have more conversations like this, especially amongst men and women. A lot of podcasts you see, most of the time it's just one side. It's either all men or all women, or it's one guy and it's 40 girls, or, you know what I'm saying? So I think us as adults, we shouldn't shy away from these conversations, because if we're not having these conversations, then nobody is, and the world can't become better. You know what I'm saying? Right. And we need to. I think it all goes back to, especially that first, what's the name about the whole baby daddy thing. I think it all goes back to respect. You know, the baby father having respect for the mom, and the stepdad having the same respect for both, and it goes all ways. So I think people do need to sit down and talk, because conversation, they say, is the cornerstone and the bedrock of a family. So we need to most definitely have these conversations. So, and then the second topic on the divorce, right?
Feeling windy.
The second topic with the whole divorce thing, divorce happens, you know. It happens. But you are completely right about the whole, who does she have around her? Especially, I feel, in the Bible it says that elder women should be mentoring the younger, ladies or whatnot. So I think, instead of listening to her single friends and all of that, you know what I'm saying, she needs to get with the women who are a little bit older and who have been through things, to talk to them. Because like I said, my grandma and grandpa, they didn't get divorced. My grandpa cheated on her. They separate. Matter of fact, they live in houses right next door to each other. So, and they've been married for what? I think it's like 40 some odd years. So yeah, but thanks for having me on the show.
You're welcome. Adrian, final thoughts?
Thank you guys for coming on. This was a really, really good conversation. I enjoyed it, and thanks again. Hopefully we can have you on again. The first thing that comes to mind is that children can be very manipulative if they can sense division amongst, in the household. So you got to be very careful of that we can be adults as co-parents and sit down and come up with a plan where these kids can, be well-rounded and not play us, because they will try to play you. Stepdads, I feel, are really stand-up guys for the most part. And I know they get a bum rap, but I think when you take on the responsibility of somebody else's children, that's a huge responsibility, and it's a lot of work. But for those who do it and do it well, I commend them. I really do. And we have to remember, the children are watching. They're watching our interaction. They're watching how we communicate with one another. And so those are the things that they take on, and how they cope with different things. And lastly, fight for your marriage. Unless there's some type of abuse, physical, verbal, or infidelity in some cases, that's a deal breaker for some people. But I think everything else, like Trevor was saying, get with some of those women that are older. We talk about sisterhood on here all the time. We need to try to make these marriages work. So nothing further, but thanks again, guys, for coming on.
Alicia Wells.
Thank you to you guys for agreeing to come onto our broadcast, except for you, Scorpio. Thank you, Trevor, for showing up also and having a wonderful discussion. I think this topic has been great, even the subtopics, even our back and forth. I love it. I think we need to have more healthy discussions like this, where it's not, on a disrespectful tip, where we can agree to disagree on certain things, but we also can kind of come up with solutions, because we need to have more solution-based conversations. Because as you guys can see, when we turn on any social media propaganda or whatever, you just see all the divisiveness amongst us when it comes to Black men and women. And I think we need to, start looking more we need to resolve it, because the younger people are watching and they're starting to spit out old verbiage that's not true, right? But they're hearing other people say it, so they think it's true without doing research. We need to see more marriages be promoted. We need to hear from, I always say this to especially my married friends. I always say, We need more married voices out there that shows that marriage can be done. Marriage will have its hiccups, but you guys still work through it, and you make it happen, and it lasts, and it's a good role model as to what we should be teaching our children, right? I feel like we have a lot of broken and single people that's like spewing out this like message of don't get married and don't date this type of person and they have to look like this and all these things, but they're miserable, and we don't have enough married people saying actually you can make it work. Actually, having a healthy family is needed. Therapy is needed. I think that there's nothing wrong with being a single dad. There's nothing wrong with being a stepdad. There's nothing wrong with running your household how you see fit, especially if you are the leader of your household. Just have a discussion up front of how you want to run it. Like you said, Sniper, I think that discussion should be had in the beginning of how you want your household to run, what it looks like. Questions should be asked before you get married, and good discussion. That's my thoughts. Thank you.
We have to remember that love is a gamble. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Even when you thought you properly vetted this person. Some people are professional pretenders. You know what I'm saying? And they will do whatever it takes to fulfill their selfish agenda. I know heartbreak and betrayal hurts. And sometimes it hurts like hell. Have your little 5-minute pity party and keep it going. Just know, or have some solace in knowing that you were a genuine person. You did the right thing. For Miss Eva, baby, the single life ain't no joke. And see, sometimes men like to be with you when they know you got somebody else. Because they want to see if they can crack that code. If they want to see if you're loyal, if you're a genuine person. And see, you're going to have yourself out here with not one, not two, but 3 babies. What you think is next for you? I would advise you to try to work it out with your husband. Like Adrian said, if he ain't beating on you, if he's not verbally abusive, y'all need to sit and work that shit out. Gentlemen, love having you here today. Hopefully we can do this a lot. I think it shows a balance, and I get passionate, you get passionate, and we still could, like Nisha say, have some solutions. We are a solution-based channel, and thank you very much for being here. We hope that you come back. I got all y'all numbers, so great conversation. I see that, baby. Great conversation. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. This was BGP, Mr. Frank Rivers, intellectual sniper. Can you promote your book right now, sir? Your books. Where can we find your books?
Yes, you can find it on Amazon. My first book, Supernatural Confidence, and then my 2 other books, When Men Were Men, and of course for the ladies, The Day She Learned Chess.
I highly recommend When Men Were Men. I bought one for myself, and I bought one for my son. That is my son's current Bible. He loves that. When he falls, when he slips, when he starts simping, he go back to that book. I also have the book that he has for ladies, but men, I'm telling you, When Men Were Men, that one blew me away. Mr. Trevor.
Thank you.
Where can we find you at, sir?
So I'm big on Instagram, so it is Trevor, Trevor M. Woodruff, which is Woodruff, and then also you can find me at the same name on on all platforms, so TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all of them, and then my YouTube channel also.
Yes, this is our little entrepreneur. He's into ATMs and real estate, and I'm very proud of him doing this thing. Mr. Frank Rivers, where can we find you again, sir?
You can find me in these streets. I'm on YouTube. I have my channel there is called View from the Man Cave. It's been a while. People have been trying to get me to start doing more podcasts, and I'm gonna do it. But same name. Frank Rivers on Facebook. Clubhouse, all that good stuff. So I'm around. Like I said, I'm gonna be out there too. I'm gonna find out to LA tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm gonna be out there. I'm gonna be out there all week next week.
Hit me up.
I got you.
All right. Again, like, share, subscribe, leave us a comment. BGP and Frank Rivers, intellectual sniper, Trevor Woodward. We are
Woodruff.
Woodruff.
It's like Woodruff.
I'm like, oh, whatever. That's what it is. I'm like,
Trevor Woodruff. BGP, and we're out. Bye.